did not push the right button and I had to flip it back to, what is this, portrait view? So I'm sorry about that. If you can see us, give us a thumbs up. You can say hi. I see some people coming on right now.
It's bigger.
Okay, let's keep an eye over there. I know Teddy really likes the computer, so I might even have to have them switch.
No.
It's Grandma. Well, if you keep your eyes up there and not at the computer. Okay, Grandma says hi.
I like watching me.
Looks great. Okay, great. We're gonna wait a few more minutes and see if more people come on. I know it's the middle of the day on a Saturday and people might be like out in their yards or out and about. I don't know what people are doing, but we have 2 sleeping babies, so that's why we're doing it at this time. So if you are watching the replay, you can type replay and we'll know that you're watching it. And then this video will go on my website when we're all done here, and then all like the recipes and the supply list and everything will also go on the website. So if you're tuning in later, not a problem. We're still really happy to have you watching.
It's fun.
Hi to Teddy Millie and her giraffe. Oh, it's Miss Taylor. Oh, she was so excited about that giraffe. Weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so funny, when we started these videos back in March, the babies used to take 2 naps a day. Now they're down to 1 nap a day, and they almost don't even want to do that. So life happens so fast, right? And
Maybe by summer they'll be not taking a nap at all.
oh, I don't know if Mom's ready for that, but it's probably true. These 2 escaped their cribs when they were really young.
Yeah.
So we are going to get started now. We're going to be making our homemade turkey dinner rolls, and we're using a recipe. If you were signed up for the email ahead of time, you got the printable recipe card. It's for my honey potato dinner rolls. Hi, honey. Yeah, he just came up from downstairs. So we're going to go over how to make this recipe and measure, and we're going to talk a little bit about yeast. We're going to talk a little bit about rising of dough, cutting dough, shaping dough. So that's what we're going to be doing throughout the video. If you did make the recipe ahead of time, that's awesome. I have steps, and it says stop at step 6 if you're going to be making turkeys with us. Or if you're watching this for the replay, you've made the dough ahead of time, up to step 6, and then you'll watch how we actually turn them into turkeys, okay? Yeah, more people popping on, yay. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about yeast. I don't know if I'm still on here. So yeast is like it's a little sleeping guy. You can either get a packet of yeast, or I have this like big container of yeast that I keep in here. And on the recipe it says either 1 packet of dry yeast or 2 and 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. Okay, so that's about how much is in one of these. Depending on what brand you use, there might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but if you just have like a big container of it, 2 and 1/4 cup is like your go-to memory for how much is in 1 packet. Just be really careful when you are using yeast that you check the expiration date, because it goes bad and it won't do what it needs to do. It won't rise, it won't make your bread grow. So in fact, I was going through my yeast packets. I usually use this, and I found one that expired in September, so it won't even work anymore. So if you have this and they expire, toss it, okay? So I actually found one today when I was going through it. We're going to measure our yeast out of my big container. I'm gonna get, my measuring spoon. I guess I left it over in the sink.
The yeast smells weird.
Yeah, it smells like bread, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's pretty much sleeping right now. I already made a batch of bread this morning, so that's why my measuring spoon was over there. It's like sleeping right now. We're gonna wake it up. It does smell kind of weird. So you're gonna measure. You can put it either into a large mixing bowl or the base of your stand mixer. We're using a stand mixer today. At least I am. So 1 teaspoon. Oops, and that's not enough. You need to make sure to fill it up all the way.
Taylor looks cool.
Okay, I'm gonna just help you with this because you're having a hard time. It's okay.
It's too small.
It's too small, so I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm gonna measure. I'm just gonna do all the yeast for you guys, okay? 2 teaspoons, and then we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon. So what you're gonna do is wake your yeast up with warm water. If you get cold water, it's not really gonna wake up. It needs a little bit of warmth. It needs to take like a warm bath. So we're gonna measure a 1.5 cups of water. And I said on my recipe card, if you look in there, measure out a 1.5 cups of water and put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it'll be a perfect temperature. just kind of like a rule of thumb, for every cup of water, about 20 seconds in the microwave will get you a good room temperature, okay? So I'm gonna go grab that over here. These are my favorite measuring cups, especially for kids, because there's the side measurement, but there's also the measurement on top so they can see what they're measuring. And I talk a little bit about that in my like kid-friendly products that we love. So this is a great measuring cup.
I like the small one.
Yes, that one we have. We can use it too. So that's gonna go for 30 seconds. So we're gonna be waking up our yeast with a warm bath, and then they're gonna be really, really hungry. So we need to feed them something in order for them to start burping. I know that's kind of crazy, right?
What do they eat?
They eat sugar. Okay.
Like me.
What?
Like me.
Yes. So we're gonna give our yeast some sugar to eat, and I think you'll be able to do this one. You need 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
So you can do 1 tablespoon all the way in.
It looks like
Yeah, very good. Okay.
Yeah, this one's
A lot easier. Okay, Millie can do a tablespoon too. Okay.
Yep.
Cover water. Perfect. Nice. Give the yeast some nummy food. They still haven't woken up, but when they do wake up, they are going to start eating that food. So wait. Remember, we always have to wait for the adult to give you the directions. Something we have to work on a little bit over in our house. He gets very, very excited about the next steps. He is, and he knows what we're supposed to do, but I just wanted to show you that if the water is warm enough, you should be able to stick your finger in. It should not be too hot. You guys can stick your finger in too. It's like a nice warm bath, right?
Feels like my bathtub.
Feels like a bathtub. Okay, so then we're gonna pour it in. I know you went through this, I'm sorry. Okay, so now,
What do you mean by waking up?
well, you're gonna see in just
It's
a little bit.
swimming.
It's gonna be swimming. I'm just gonna kinda, move it around. Okay, you guys can't really see right now. We're just gonna let it sit over here for a couple of minutes while we measure our flour, and it's gonna start to get a little bit foamy looking, and that's because the yeast is waking up, it's digesting the sugar, it's eating it, and then it's burping, and it's making air. Okay, so that's what it's gonna be doing over here on this side. So I just wanted to give you that example, and so then the next part you will be adding the rest of all of the ingredients to it's called proofing. The yeast is proofing right now, and so you're going to measure your flour, honey, and we put honey in it. If you don't have honey and you don't want to use honey, you can just use extra sugar in the next step. I just really like the way honey adds a really nice warm flavor to the rolls.
I can't even taste the honey.
Yeah, it's a sweetness that's in there, yeah. And 2 eggs. If you're egg free, I also sent out some substitutes for what you could do for that. 2 eggs and 6 tablespoons of butter. So what we're making here is called an enriched bread. So we're not just using like flour, yeast, and water. We're enriching it with fat, fat in the form of the egg yolk, which will also provide it with some structure, as well as the fat from the butter. And it just gives like a denser, more rich flavor to your roll or bread. Other popular enriched doughs you might have heard of are challah, brioche is an enriched dough. There's lots of them out there. So we're making our own enriched dough, and we're adding potatoes to it, which I know is kind of crazy. This recipe actually stemmed from a recipe. Oh, I asked Grandpa if he was going to make Grandma rolls for Thanksgiving. Oh, maybe Grandpa's gonna make these. So this stemmed from a recipe I found in like an old cookbook of I think my grandma's, and it was like an Amish potato roll, and I adapted it and changed it a little bit. I enriched it with butter and eggs, but I really liked adding the potato to it. It adds like a denseness. It makes the roll very, very dense. It's still light and fluffy, but it's like a heavier roll. So I never bought instant mashed potatoes until I was developing this recipe, and they're actually really cool. This is what they look like. We're putting instant potatoes in here.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, right? There's a lot of starch to it. It's just what they look like. It almost looks like snow, okay? So we're going to use a 1/2 cup of instant potatoes or potato
Looks like
flakes.
coconut.
It does kind of look like coconut.
Coconut.
So you measure out a 1/2 cup. So just kind of like stick it in there. I'll open it up for you. Flip it over inside. Shake it off. There you go. It's perfect. Kind of does look good. So put that in our bowl. Uh-oh, you better go wash your hands now, right? Because you just stuck your hand in your mouth. Kitchen hygiene is very important, and sometimes kids don't realize what they're doing and they'll just stick their hands in their mouth. So always always just remind them they have to go wash their hands with soap and water. Okay, so I have a cup of potato flakes and then 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I always recommend unbleached all-purpose flour. It's just less processed. If you have bleached flour, it'll be totally fine, so don't worry about that. It's just my personal preference is unbleached flour. This is our big thing of flour. Let me get my green measuring cup. So I'm gonna have Millie demonstrate the scoop and sweep method. This is how you should be measuring your dry ingredients when making bread, cookies, really any dough or anything. You're gonna use the scoop and sweep method. So I'm gonna do it once and then I'm gonna let Millie demonstrate it. So what you do not want to do is take your flour and press it against the side of your bin. That's going to compact it and you're going to over measure and then end up with a drier product. So what you want to do, oops, is just gently kind of toss that flour. You want to overfill like this, and then you're going to take the back of a butter knife and you just level it off. So you're not compacting that flour, okay? So I'm going to do the first cup, and then Millie gets to do the next one. Okay, there you go. Very good. Overfill. Switch hands. Excellent. Level it off. Scoop and sweep. So you're sweeping off the excess flour. That's great, honey. No, it's fine. You did good. And put it in. Did you want to do one, Teddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like a sandcastle.
It does kind of look like a sandcastle. So again, Teddy's using the scoop and sweep method. You want to do it over the bin. You don't want to make a mess and keep the extra flour in the bin or whatever you're using. Could be the bag. This makes 3. And then I'm going to have Millie do one more, and then Teddy's going to do the last half cup. So it's 4.5 cups, okay? Just like you did the last time. You did great. Okay, great. Very good. Awesome. Put it in our bowl. Beautiful. And then the last half cup today, so make sure we're doing a half a cup measure there. If anyone is joining us live, are you cooking along with us? Are you watching the replay? You can let me know by watching replay, or you could say like, oh, we're just watching and we're gonna do this on Thanksgiving Day. So let us know there. So we've got our dry ingredients right there measured, okay? I'm gonna get this out of the way. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna get everything measured and prepared while our yeast is still over there eating, still over there doing its thing. So we have salt. It's just really important for bread. It's important for all recipes to balance flavor. I use kosher salt in most of my cooking. So the recipe does say if you're using kosher salt, you need 2 teaspoons of salt. If you're using table salt, you need to only use 1 teaspoon. It's a much finer crystal and it'll compact a lot more. So you don't need as much. It's going to give you a lot more salt flavor. So just if it's table salt, 1 teaspoon. Kosher salt, 2 teaspoons. Do you want to get one? When you do the same thing, you want to level it off. You can use the back of the knife. That's fine. There you go. 1 teaspoon. Put it right into our dry ingredients. Very good. And then Teddy, do you want to get the last teaspoon? Fine. You can just shake it off too. That looks good. Sometimes you don't need to use the whole knife, depending. Okay. We have our salt. And then we're going to measure our honey. Okay, like I said, if you don't have honey or you don't want to use honey, you can just use 2 tablespoons of extra sugar. We're going to use Teddy's favorite little measuring cup. It measures up to 4 tablespoons or 1/4 of a cup. We're going to measure our honey. A trick to measuring honey is using a little bit of non-cooking spray or oil in the bottom of your measuring cup or spoon or device so that it won't stick so bad. So I'm going to do that. Or do you want to do it?
I want to do the honey.
The honey. Okay, so I sprayed it, and then you're going to get it up to the level 2. 2 tablespoons of honey. Give it a minute to just start pouring down, and then you can start squeezing. Kids love to measure things. It's a really great skill. It's really good for them, and you know, it's a way that they can help you in the kitchen if you're not ready for them to be doing too much else. They can be measuring things for you. And he really loves doing this. So does Millie. Keep going.
I also like cracking eggs.
Yep, we're gonna crack eggs here in just a minute too, because we're putting eggs in this dough. Looking good, buddy. Keep squeezing. Okay, while he's squeezing the honey, I'm gonna have Millie start cracking the eggs. This is also something we've discussed in some of our other cooking classes, but we're gonna go over it again. We're using our eggs right here, and I'm just gonna tell you how we do it. We do bang, bang on the corner of the counter, thumbs in the holes, and pull apart. That's how we do it, okay? You ready to do yours? Bang, bang, thumbs in, pull apart. Great, put your toes right in here. That looks great. You can do the other one, that's fine. He's doing the honey. Bang, 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 thumbs in,
Where did I put this?
pull apart. Well, in a minute we'll use it. Excellent egg cracking, Amelia. Okay, she's gonna go run to the sink and wash her hands. When handling raw eggs, we always want to make sure we're keeping our hands nice and clean.
I like this.
You like the honey?
And I like the cup.
You like the little cup? You know. And the other thing we're going to need to add is 6 tablespoons of room temperature butter. So Teddy's gonna go on here and find where is 6 tablespoons.
Right here.
Okay, and we're gonna cut
Or is
that.
it right
Here we go.
there?
Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Make a little thing, and then like a little mark, and then you're gonna peel it. You see where your mark is? Can you cut it now? Okay, so we need the 6 tablespoons. This is on this side. Excellent. Just leave it right here for a minute. It's okay. So now we're gonna come over here and see how our yeast is doing. You see how it's got some bubbles? I'm gonna show it to the camera in a minute.
Foamy.
It looks foamy, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it or not, but
It looks kind of like pancake dough.
yeah, it's kind of, it smells really much, a lot like bread, and it's starting to get a little foamy. It's kind of pale in color, and that's exactly what you want. Your yeast is ready for you to put the rest of your ingredients in. So you can put them in all at once. I know it seems kind of crazy, but you can put them in all at once. And then Teddy's gonna start pouring the honey. It might take a little bit of time to start pouring it. Okay, but if seeds comes out, it's pretty good in that container. You can put your eggs in.
It's just disappearing.
Yeah, pour them in. You can do it
I
at the
think the yeast
same
is
time.
eating all my honey.
Yeah, it might be. I'm gonna hold that way. You get your butter. Put the whole chunk of butter in. Okay, all right. That's okay. He didn't realize, but you don't want to put anything large or heavy in something that's liquid. It's gonna splash out at you. So they should have gently placed it, but I didn't give you that direction. Like gently placed it. Okay. It's okay. I didn't give the directions, so not a big deal. And then I'm just gonna put the flour, and this had the salt in it, and the potato flakes. Okay. So if you're doing this by hand or with a hand mixer, you're just gonna start mixing until it's pretty well incorporated, and then you're gonna do some hand kneading. We're gonna throw this in the stand mixer and let it do the heavy lifting for us. But I can. Is anyone using this by hand? If you are, you can comment and let me know if you have any questions about kneading. You can go over that. So I'm just going to turn this on for a few minutes. I'm not going to keep it on for the full 5 to 7 minutes, so you don't have to sit here and wait for that. I actually made a batch ahead of time. Oops, let's just stay in one spot, okay? And I'm just going to show you, just turn it on, and then we'll turn it to like a medium. And then you let it go for 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, which I'll finish this batch after our video is done. So I'm just going to kind of like pause it and push it over here and let you say, oh, this is what it will look like. So 5 to 7 minutes, and then you take that dough hook out.
For anyone interested, this is what it should look like when it's just about done in the mixer, or if you're hand kneading it. It's a pretty damp dough if you are hand kneading it.
You will cover it with a damp cloth. Oh, thanks, honey. I'm sorry, I forgot to put that away. A damp cloth, and let it rest for about 90 minutes, up to 2 hours. And it should double in size, and it definitely did. This is what ours looks like. See it? Really yummy. Oops, I got something out there. Okay, smells good. And it's a pretty wet.
Tastes good.
We're not going to taste it. Why? Because there's raw eggs in it, right?
Oh yeah.
That's right. Okay, so what we're going to do is turn it out onto our countertop. And what you need to do is have what's called bench flour, which is just like extra flour, which I'm going to grab some. You're just going to sprinkle it. There's nothing wrong if you need to add a little bit of flour to what you're making, okay? So I'm just going to use my hand. I'm going to scrape it out. Look at that beautiful.
I like touching it.
I know, it's kind of like Play-Doh, right?
We made this before.
Yes, we've made this before, so they know. It's a pretty sticky dough, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of extra bench flour, sprinkle it on top. You can just kind of feel it, okay? Does that feel nice? Yeah, good bread, good bread. Okay, so what you can do is either use like a small knife or kitchen shears, or I have what's called like a bench scrape right here. And I'm just gonna divide this in half. And then Ty and Millie each get to divide this into 8 portions, okay? So we're gonna make 16 balls first.
I have a question.
What?
What are kitchen shears?
They're special scissors just for the kitchen. That's a great question, okay?
I need
So, need some more bench flour? Sure.
Yeah, I need
Okay, put it underneath. Kitchen shears, that's a great question. Are special scissors just for the kitchen. And if you don't have those, you can just take a regular pair of scissors, wash them really well, and use those, and then wash them again when you're done. I highly recommend you buy a pair of kitchen shears. I use them all the time. It's just great to have. So I actually have my pair out over there. So what we're gonna do, you can either use this, or we are gonna use the scissors in a little bit. And we're gonna do, try to get it to, he's putting his into a ball, but I want him to keep it kind of long, because he's gonna do 8 pretty equal portions, okay? So what I recommend is doing it in half, and then doing each of these into 4 pieces, okay? Because 4 plus 4 is 8, right? You can just use a butter knife for yours. That's fine. And so I would do it in half first, and then each of the halves into 4 pieces. Okay?
The butter knife isn't working.
Oops. Yes, it is. You just have to push really hard, see?
Oh.
Gotta push pretty hard, okay? And this one can go in half. And this one can go in half. I can give you your kid's knife. I don't think you need a kid's knife. Millie's almost done with hers. So I'm gonna finish her other 4, and she's gonna start rolling these into little balls, okay?
Like this.
It doesn't have to be perfect, because we're gonna shape these into turkeys in just a minute.
1.
Yeah.
It's almost like hand turkeys, almost.
Almost like hand turkey.
Yeah.
Yes, you can use this now. Cut that one in half.
This
All right.
is easy.
Yeah, it's easier with that wood bench scrape. Okay.
I need more bench
Bench flour. There we go. Boom.
Cut this.
Making rolls can be a little messy, but I do think it's a lot of fun and something you should try with your children. I know that my kids don't love everything on the Thanksgiving table, but they do love rolls, and it's something they can be a big part of making. So it's a lot of fun.
It's
Oh,
my
that's
favorite
okay.
thing on the Thanksgiving.
It's his favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table.
And
All right,
my
do you have all your
favorite
pieces?
thing. Just have to make them into balls.
La, 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 la. So what I'm gonna have them do is take 3 pieces each. So any 3 you want. I'm gonna put the rest over to the side.
I want you.
Get 3 pieces. All right, the rest of yours, I'm just gonna put them all over here. Just pick. You get 3, 1, 2. Okay, you get 3. Okay, 3 and 3. Awesome. All right, so now we're gonna actually make our turkeys. Okay.
Yay!
Yeah,
They smell good.
They do smell really good. So I'm gonna show you what you need to do. You're gonna take your first ball. You can take your kitchen shears or your knife, and you're just gonna cut it in half. Okay, I'm gonna have Teddy cut his in half. Cut one of yours in half.
Okay.
And just kind of lay these guys right here.
The biggest one.
Okay. So you got those 2 halves. Perfect. Okay, so these are gonna be their little bodies and like heads, and this is gonna be what we're gonna make the feathers out of. Okay. So I'm gonna do 1, and then I'm gonna let Millie do the next one. Okay. So if you just have a knife, you can do it with a knife, or you can do it with kitchen shears. You're gonna make 4 cuts. 1, 2,
These kitchen shears.
3, 4. Okay. I'm gonna try to hold this up so you can kind of see what it looks like.
3.
Okay. And what she's gonna do then is gonna like twist and pinch these so they kind of look like little feathers sticking out. Okay. You can use the scissors if you'd rather, honey. Do you use the scissors? And then we're gonna get one of our parchment line baking sheets. What? You're doing great. I'm just putting this out here so you can end up putting your guy on there. Because I'm gonna show them what it looks like when we're all done. Okay, put him down. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna show them a little bit. Teddy's has a little bit much of the flour, so you wanna kinda like gently pat it off. You don't want it to be too floury, okay? So this is your feathers. I love it.
Mine already came with 1 cup.
That's okay. Excellent. So we've got 1, 2, trying to make it look like feathers. Okay. Uh-oh, you okay?
I slipped.
Alright. Alright, so what you need to do next, you take your pointer finger. I'm gonna do this up here so everyone can see. I don't know if you can see. And then you're gonna push in right here. And that's where we're gonna put the body. There's our little body. There he is. And then I kind of tuck the extra underneath. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna take Millie do theirs. Pointer finger. Push it in. And put your body in. Very good. Very good. If there's a little bit extra, you can kind of tuck it underneath. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn this around and show everyone what it looks like so far. So these are what the turkeys look like at this point. Stop playing with that. We have their feathers, and then we have their body, and this is where we're gonna make their little head and their little face, okay? So people can see that. They can see it. Okay. So next we're gonna do is go like this into each eye hole with our finger. We made eye holes, and we're gonna let each of you guys do that. Put 2 eye holes. 1, 2. And then we're going to use, I have pumpkin seeds here for the eyes. I also said that you could put, I said sunflower seeds might work. You can maybe do almonds if you want kind of like big eyes, or peanuts or something like that. But we have pumpkin seeds and I thought that was like really perfect. You want to put them in those little indents that you made. Very good.
I think I'm going to replace this one.
Sure.
Because it was broken.
Okay, you want to get them kind of pushed in. You don't want them to just sit on top because the rolls are going to grow. And then we're using a dried cranberry for the waddle. The waddle. If you don't have dried cranberries, you might have like a dried cherry around.
Yeah.
So you're going to take one of those and put it kind of a little bit lower because we still have to do his beak. So make sure you have some room for his beak. And push that in. Remember, we push it in because it's going to grow. Perfect.
I make another hole and put it in.
She makes another hole and puts it in, which is also a really good idea. Okay, and then, you want to put that one in? Sure. And then I told to use dried mango, and we're going to use our kitchen shears again and make little tiny triangles, which I'll just show you. Just kind of cut a triangle. Here's one for you. And the kids can do this too. I'm just doing it to kind of like speed things up. But you can have little tiny triangles. You could use a dried apricot. If you don't have anything, you could just omit this, and he could be a beakless turkey. That's totally fine. Very cute. And then his little legs are pretzel sticks. So I take one pretzel stick and we break it in half and then stick those halves in as his little legs. Okay.
Or you could, if you want strawberries, you could use strawberries.
Oh, for the waddle?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had strawberries, you could use that for the waddle. So I'm going to just turn this around and show everybody your turkeys and how they look right now. So as you can see, we have our little guys, our little turkeys. Here's their eyes, whoops, their beaks, and their waddles, and their legs, and their feathers, okay? So then what you do next, you can do as many of these as you want. You could just do a few, and then you could bake the rest just as regular dinner rolls. So what you do next is you take your cloth, we had our damp cloth over our bowl, and then you just kind of gently drape that over your turkeys because you don't want them to dry out.
I
And
said
then
tucking them in.
tucking them in.
Night-night.
Night-night. And they're going to proof, which means they're going to rise and grow again. That yeast is going to work again, and it's going to start burping again. It's going to puff up a little bit more for another 90 minutes. And then when it's time to bake, you bake them. I'm just going to make sure I tell you. I think it's 350. Yep, 350 degrees for about 25 minutes until they become brown. You pull them out, and they are going to be perfect for your Thanksgiving table. You guys want to say anything else? Have you tried the rolls? How do they taste?
They taste good.
They're really good. They're delicious rolls. And I also wanted to show you that if you decide to just make the roll recipe, let me pop in here real quick. You can, I recommend you bake them in like a Pyrex type dish. If you're just going to do it like this, you're going to grease this. Where's my avocado spray? Actually, I'll do it right now.
Can I do it this time?
No, I'm just going to do it real quick. And you're going to put, you could probably fit in like a 9x13, you could probably fit almost all 16 rolls. But in this one, 6 fits really well in an 8x8. We did this the other night for dinner. And this just helps because it's a loose kind of a dough and it'll spread if you put it like this. But this will kind of help it give some lift. It'll have each other to kind of like lean on. So these can also then just proof, cover them, proof, and then they can bake at the same time. So if you don't want to make all turkeys, you just want to have some regular dinner rolls, I recommend you do it in like a Pyrex. Okay? she's got a giraffe. Okay. Here you go. You can stand up here again. Thank you guys so much for joining us or catching the replay. We hope you had fun, and we hope that you make turkey dinner rolls for your Thanksgiving feast this year. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.